Starting off with a good 30 squats. You're going to keep your feet hip distance apart unless you have hip issues, in which case feel free to find your comfortable distance. So slightly wider or slightly narrower, that's totally up to you. Same thing applies with your feet. You can either have parallel feet or slightly outturned, depending on what's comfortable in your hips. You're going to send that bum nice and low, dropping to a good 90 degrees, maybe a little bit lower if you're up for the challenge. Try as much as possible to keep your knees behind your toes as you squat that booty down, working glutes, quads, hammies all at once. If 30 squats is a little bit too much, feel free to drop it down to 20 or have a break halfway through and then come back to them after another exercise. That's totally fine. Be sure to squeeze that booty forwards and squeeze the hips forwards when you come to the top of your squat and tuck in from your abs so you get some bonus ab work. Moving on to alternating forward lunges. If you're struggling with your knees, you can try do a backward step with the lunge, and if that's still giving you issues, feel free to do static lunges on the spot where your one foot's forward and your other foot's back and you're just going straight up and down. That might take some of the strain off the knees. But working towards that good 90 degree at the front and the back leg, keeping the body as upright as possible. Making sure you're not sending that knee beyond the toes and you're working the strength through the glutes, through the heel, and not into those toes either. For your calf raises, feel free to grab a hold of something that'll help you balance, like a wall or a chair, something that will help you maintain good form. So if you're feeling super confident and you don't need to hold on to anything, that's totally fine. But if you're struggling to just maintain your balance and then not getting a decent calf raise out of it, rather use something to assist you with not falling over. We want to get that calf working, and if you're not even getting the calf raise out of it, then you're not really getting the benefit of the exercise. So rather use something for balance. Make sure you're keeping your tummy nice and tight, tailbone tucked. And the movement that you want to go is straight up and straight down rather than forwards and backwards. For your single leg deadlifts, feel free to use something to help you balance if you need to. Otherwise, your balance is feeling nice and strong, you can go straight into it. You're going to reach with the opposite hand to touch towards the floor by squatting that booty nice and low. So rather than just folding forwards from the hips, you want to squat into that supporting leg as low as you can to get the hand down towards the ground. I find sometimes if you use a weight in that hand, it also helps to balance you out whilst making you work that little bit harder because obviously you've got a weight in your hand. Watch that your hips and knees are not collapsing, so you want to keep that knee going in the same direction as the toe rather than conking inwards or outwards, and try not to drop the one hip either. Sending your bum back and keeping the weight in the heel rather than forwards in the toes. It's also important that you keep that core nice and active, otherwise you might find that you're straining through that lower back. And if the knees are really just unhappy with this exercise, feel free to rather do straight-legged inverted hamstrings, which will start to develop that ankle stability as well as working into the glute and hamstring. For your sumo squats, you want the legs nice and wide so that when you squat down, the knees land directly above the ankles. As you squat, you want to reach your bum as far back as you can, as if there's an invisible chair right behind you. So you want to reach your bum for that chair, squeezing those knees open instead of allowing them to conk inwards. And as you squeeze open, you're going to be using the muscles in the hips, so your glute med, etc., to open those knees, which will help your bum work that little bit harder. If you want, you can reach the hands down between the feet, between the heels, or if you're using a weight like a kettlebell, the same thing applies. Weight lands between the heels, but still keeping the upper body upright, and that will help you to keep your body weight back, which helps you to use your glutes that much more. For your side lunges, you're going to step out to the side and lunge into that leg as it catches you. Again, you want to be sending your bum back and not allowing your knee to go past the toes at the front. So you want to be squatting into a good 90 degree or lunging into a good 90 degree in the leg that's catching and supporting you. And then you're going to press off of that leg and step the feet together. Even better, if you want to challenge your balance, is to not allow the foot to step all the way to the ground when you come back to the top, but to just hover with control and then step it right out again. So you're catching yourself, loading that leg, and then pressing with good power to come back upright. Be a little bit gentle with this one as you squat down because of the extended leg. If you have flexibility issues onto that inner thigh, just be wary of that. But also remembering that you're using that inner thigh of the supporting leg to pull you back up to standing, so keeping it nice and strong. Also really important that you keep your core nice and strong throughout this movement as well, just to maintain that lower back, that you're not putting anything under unnecessary strain. If the knees are giving you issues, feel free to do this static without the step together.